North Korea is considering attacking Guam with nuclear-capable warhead.
This is a Fox News alert about our top story. Now, new developments. South Korean media is reporting that North Korea is considering an attack near Guam.
It said on Wednesday that it is carefully examining a plan to strike the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam with missiles. Just hours after U.S. President Donald Trump told the North that any threat to the United States would be met with fire and fury.
Aggressive warning to date.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Just hours after those comments, North Korea's state-run news agency saying the DPRK is seriously considering a plan to strike the U.S. territory of Guam with missiles. But Reuters national security editor John Walcott says it's likely more tough talk than anything else.
It's loud rhetoric, it attracts attention, it puffs him up the same way that kind of rhetoric puffs any number of world leaders up. It doesn't mean he's about to do it, and frankly, I would not pay a lot of attention to the suggestion from President Trump.
The best signal that North Korea can give us that they're prepared to talk would be to stop these missile launches. We've not had an extended period of time where they have not taken some type of provocative action by launching ballistic missiles. So I think that would be the first and strongest signal they could send to us, is just stop these missile launches. Obviously, we have other means of communication open to them to certainly hear from them if they have a desire to want to talk.
North Korea also said it could carry out a preemptive operation if the United States showed signs of provocation. The statement mentioned a potential strike on Andersen Air Force Base in which the U.S. strategic bombers, which get on the nerves of the DPRK and threaten and blackmail it through their frequent visits to the sky above South Korea, are stationed, and to send a serious warning signal to the U.S. The U.S. flew two B-1B bombers over the Korean peninsula on Monday, according to a spokesman with Pacific Air Forces. The bombers flew out of Andersen AFB in Guam on Monday as part of its continuous bomber presence, according to the spokesman. The bombers were joined by Japanese and South Korean aircraft. The KPA Strategic Force is now carefully examining the operational plan for making an enveloping fire at the areas around Guam with medium to long-range strategic ballistic rocket Hwasong-12 in order to contain the U.S. major military bases on Guam, including the Andersen Air Force Base, the spokesman said.
Come in, let's go to senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott with more. Greg?
Harris, it is an alarming report coming from the Washington Post, and at least one of my valued sources on the subject of North Korea thinks that it is true. Let's go through the report very quickly. Washington Post quoting defense intelligence officials saying that North Korea is now capable of producing nuclear weapons for ballistic missile delivery. That is, a warhead small enough to put on one of the many missiles that they have been testing. Now, North Korea, if you remember, has been claiming exactly that. Last year, in fact, they said they tested one such bomb, and they even showed a picture, which we weren't sure was accurate or not, showing Kim Jong-un with a miniaturized bomb. Again, we weren't sure that was true, but if this report is true, it means that these ICBMs, for example, two of them that we've seen launched last month, that we've been saying was capable of hitting the United States, could have something lethal on top. Again, Harris, let me go back to my source. His name is Mark Fitzpatrick. He's with the International Institute of Strategic Studies, and I just got off the phone with him discussing this with him. He's based in Washington, D.C. He says basically this is what analysts have been saying for a while now, that North Korea is capable of doing this, that they're very competent technological people. They've been working on this for 30 years, but governments have been a little bit more reticent to say they are at this crucial threshold. I think my own analysis, Harris, is that today, early this morning, U.S. time, Japan came out with a report citing their own officials saying that they believe that North Korea was capable of miniaturizing these nuclear warheads. Perhaps that is what pushed some people in Washington to talk to the Washington Post about this and say this. One final note on this, Harris, is that also in that report it says that there are 60 warheads now possibly in the arsenal of North Korea. Fitzpatrick and others think that's a little bit high. It's maybe more like 20 or 30, but frankly, that's equivalent with numbers at this point, Harris.
The UN Security Council unanimously imposed new sanctions on North Korea on Saturday over its continued missile tests. Speaking from the Regional Security Forum in Manila, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that China is paying the biggest price for the new UN sanctions against North Korea. The UN Security Council unanimously imposed new sanctions on North Korea on Saturday over its continued missile tests that could cost the communist dictatorship some $1 billion off its $3 billion annual export revenue. Wang said owing to China's traditional economic ties with North Korea, it will mainly be China paying the price for implementing the resolution, but to protect the international non-proliferation system and regional peace and stability, China will, as before, fully and strictly properly implement the entire contents of the relevant resolution.
North Korea's only real ally, China, says it's willing to step up and make sacrifices in the name of North Korean sanctions, even though it stands to lose more than other countries. Beijing's foreign minister on Tuesday saying new sanctions announced over the weekend will likely leave a dent in China's economy as well, because it's the only country with close economic ties to Pyongyang. China has repeatedly said it's committed pushing through with UN sanctions, but as Reuters' Ben Blanchard reports, it doesn't seem to want to take things so far that its own economy suffers.
China also says these are obviously targeted sanctions that the United Nations puts on North Korea, and that anything that is not sanctioned still falls within the realm of what it calls normal trade with North Korea. So that's really the rub. The Americans and the South Koreans and the Japanese and other Western countries indeed would like China to be much tougher on North Korea, and really probably would like China to go beyond what is in the scope of the United Nations sanctions. But whether or not it will go any further than that, do anything that's outside of the resolutions, it hasn't really given much sign so far that it will do that.
The new sanctions ban the buying of North Korean coal, iron, lead, and seafood, and could cripple Pyongyang's exports by up to a third.
North Korea responded Monday with threats and backlash, seemingly suggesting that the dictator Kim Jong-un was doubling down on his objective of developing a nuclear-armed missile that could reach the continental U.S. It accused the U.S. of trying to drive the situation of the Korean peninsula to the brink of nuclear war.